If you're a fan of Speed Duels, then chances are you've already probably heard that Konami plans on taking a very long break from producing any more Speed Duel products. And we have zero clue as to how long this break will be or if they're ever actually planning on coming back to Speed Duels. Which is a real shame, especially when you take into consideration just how much content has been left unexplored in Speed Duels. And that's not even including 5Ds or beyond. I mean, the DM era and the GX era both have so much content left. Arcs like the Virtual World arc with Noah, Waking the Dragon Lords, one of the best arcs in my opinion from the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, or even the finale of the Supreme King Jaden arc. And there's still so much more I haven't mentioned. The point is, there's still plenty Konami could have done with Speed Duels. Which brings us to today's video. What if Duelist Kingdom had its own Speed Duel box? With the help of my very good friend, PushX to Start, he helped me design this box to represent what a Speed Duel box could potentially look like. And huge shout out to him for the help. So here's the thing. In future videos, I plan on breaking down every single character that I plan on introducing for this Speed Duel box. But not only that, I also plan on making dedicated decks for each of these characters alongside custom skills. I even went ahead and designed an entire miscellaneous aspect of the deck as well for cards and character skills that wouldn't be introduced into the box. The point is, I took a very long time designing all these characters alongside their decks, trying to take into consideration all the patterns that Konami does when constructing decks, and everything of that sort. As far as I've seen, you guys appreciate all my breakdowns and predictions when it comes to future Speed Duel products, and I kind of wanted to give it a try to see if I can construct my very own Speed Duel box. So with that being said, I would really appreciate it if you guys could leave a like and subscribe to my channel. If this is a topic that interests you even in the slightest, then subscribing sounds like a really good idea just so you never miss a single episode of this. But with that being said, guys, I really do appreciate any support you leave me, and in the comment section below, let me know if there's any arcs in particular that you want to see covered in future videos. So with that being said, let's talk about Duelist Kingdom. So when it came to Duelist Kingdom, the very first thing that I had to break down before I could even get started is what characters should get a deck in this set. And there was actually a very hefty roster of characters that should have gotten a deck. Characters like Pegasus, of course, Yugi, Kaiba, Joey, Mai, Mako, Bonds, Weevil, Panic. Like, there was so many characters to go ahead and choose from, and honestly, they all had a valid reason to get chosen. Not only that, but besides choosing these characters, I then had to choose what exactly a deck for these characters would look like, without having too much overlap with decks they've already received in prior sets. And that proved to be a little difficult, especially because there's a fine balance that you have to have whenever designing these decks, because you can't print cards that are too good, nor do you want to print cards that are too garbage. So finding a happy medium proved to be a little bit difficult. Not only that, but I also found it relevant to go ahead and have all these characters get decks that were somewhat relevant to their strategy during this arc. By the end of it all, I think I came up with a pretty decent roster for what characters I would like to see in this hypothetical Speed Duel box. The first character being Pegasus. I feel like it would be very weird if we did a Duelist Kingdom box and excluded Pegasus from it. However, here's the thing. Pegasus has never truly had a good deck in Speed Duels, and at that, his strategies have been done quite a bit, and there would be a lot of overlap of cards that already exist, and there's a fine line between what can be printed and what can't. And I feel like I made a good decision with what I did with him. In the end, I ended up doubling down with tunes and ended up building him a deck that's somewhat coherent and feels a lot more powerful and playable for the tune strategy. And I'm super excited to share that with you guys in a future video. The next character I ended up choosing for this set would be Yugi. Yugi has to be in this set, and the deck that I designed for him sounds a little wonky, but I ended up designing a Magician of Black Chaos strategy. Now, I'm fully aware that this card has already gotten a printing in a Speed Duel booster box, and already has a skill as well that's paired up with the Black Luster Soldier, but I ended up designing a brand new deck that highlights little Yugi as a character alongside a Tem. And honestly, this is probably one of my favorite decks that I designed, and I cannot wait to share it with you. The next character I ended up choosing for this set was Joey. Our boy Joey has not much to work with, I'm not gonna lie, but I ended up deciding what's something useful that Joey had during this arc that could be really cool to see as a character deck? One of the first ideas that I had was Red Eyes Black Dragon. However, entering the Duelist Kingdom arc, Joey didn't have Red Eyes and instead had his pile deck. He ended up winning the Red Eyes off Rex, and I kind of didn't want to go ahead and do that. So instead, I ended up deciding what was his ace during that arc, and that was both Time Wizard and Flame Swordsman. Those were two of his big Haymaker cards in his deck, and I ended up just doing that. I ended up building Joey a Flame Swordsman / Time Wizard deck, and it's really fun and works surprisingly well. It's going to be really fun to explore. The next character that I designed for this box as well was Kaiba, and here's the thing, it is so weird to see that Kaiba has gotten almost no love when it comes to the SpeedDuel products. I mean, he's only ever been represented in one of the SpeedDuel boxes, and that being the very first one where Konami still was trying to figure out what they were trying to do with him as a character, or just the boxes as a whole. So for Kaiba, I decided we need to double down on Blue Eyes White Dragon as a strategy, and at that, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. The thing is, Blue Eyes is one of the most integral cards Kaiba has, and it barely gets any love. Like, we have hardly any decks for that card. And I think I struck a fine balance with designing his deck, while giving him a skill that made good use of those monsters. And honestly, I'm a big fan of that. I didn't go too crazy, but I think you guys will like it. As for the last 4 characters, I felt like we needed to highlight some of the rivals during this arc. And the very first one that came to mind that was a very easy add-in was Bandit Keith. Bandit Keith has never gotten a SpeedDuel deck, and all he's ever received is just random bulk from the SpeedDuel booster packs. And honestly, that's absolutely wild to think about. Bandit Keith is one of the most iconic characters from the anime, and for him not to get a deck is ludicrous. Especially when you take into consideration that a character like Esparoba got 2 separate decks in Battle City and Streets of Battle City, which were both garbage. But I went ahead and designed a Dark Machine strategy for our boy Bandit Keith that highlights Barrel Dragon as his ace monster. I did consider giving him the Machine King as his boss, but I'm gonna save that for Virtual World. It's a little teaser for you guys. The next character I wanted to talk about was Rex, and here's the thing. Our boy Rex has gotten very little love from Konami. He got more than Bandit Keith, but still, all he ever really received was a starter deck, and at that starter deck was not that great. So the whole idea behind Rex was a little tricky to do, just because, well, a lot of the dinosaur cards have already been printed, and strategies that I wanted to build around were, let's just say, less than ideal. I did consider making him a brand new Serpent Knight Dragon deck, but the deck already has a really good skill, and it's not the easiest thing to build into. So instead, I decided that I would highlight some of his more iconic monsters from the anime, like the King-Headed Rex, and go ahead and implement it with some of the newer cards printed recently in the TCG. And the main boss monster of the deck was going to be Horned Saurus, which is surprising enough because it's a very new card, but I think it's balanced enough for SpeedDuels. We're now on to the last 2 characters, and the next one that I want to talk about is Bonds. Bonds is a really interesting character since he isn't super important in the anime, but he actually became very iconic to everyone, and is a character that we all kind of just recognize. And he has a really cool strategy that I wanted to go ahead and bring to real life. I still can't believe that Pumpkin King hasn't been printed in SpeedDuels. Like, excuse me? And that's one of the things that I wanted to do for his deck. I wanted to go ahead and build a zombie world Pumpkin King idea, and the deck is really cool, and I cannot wait until I share it with you guys. I went ahead and gave cards like Skull Servant some new support. I have some zombie world stuff, some Pumpkin King. It's pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie, and I feel like you guys will enjoy it if you're a big Bonds fan. The last character that I have here for the this hypothetical box is Mako, and Mako as a character, I feel like he didn't necessarily need a deck, but I really wanted to give him one. So the whole idea behind Mako's strategy was going to be another Umi related deck where we go ahead and print a lot of brand new water monsters that haven't been printed in the SpeedDuels yet. And overall, the deck looks incredibly fun to pilot, and we went ahead and gave him a brand new boss monster in the deck, while still highlighting some of his vanillas that he used during this arc. And yeah, this is a really fun one. As for the other characters that I mentioned earlier in this video, like Panic, Weevil, etc., characters like those, I felt like were better relegated for the miscellaneous pile because for one reason or another. First, Panic had almost nothing to work with. He has like 2 cards that exist in the TCG, and the rest of it is kind of like either anime stuff or just cards that are so bad that are not worth printing. But nevertheless, I gave him some interesting stuff in the miscellaneous pile while creating a cool skill for him. Other characters like Mai and Weevil, however, are characters that have a ton of support already in SpeedDuels, so giving them another deck would be a bit redundant. So in the next few days, do expect for me to release a few more videos breaking down all the character decks individually. For the most part, all the prep is pretty much done. I do still have to go ahead and finish up a couple of the skills, but do keep an eye out for that. The first character that I do plan on releasing for this idea is Bandit Keith. I ended up making a popularity poll on my channel and on Reddit to see what character people wanted to see the most, and by a landslide, Bandit Keith is the character people want to see, so Bandit Keith it is. In the comment section below, let me know how excited are you about this whole idea. I do plan in the future to create a SpeedDuel box for all the arcs we haven't gotten. The Virtual World arc, the Waking the Dragon Lords, that's going to be really fun. But like the Kaiba Cup arc is another interesting one. We still have GX to cover. And if there's any arc that I haven't thought about or any suggestions you have in the comment section below for a arc you would like to see, let me know in the comment section. I read all my comments every single time, and I love interacting with you guys. And sometimes you guys have some awesome ideas that I go ahead and make use of. But with that being said, guys, if you guys did end up enjoying today's video, then a like would be very much appreciated alongside a subscribe, so you guys don't miss whenever I upload those character decks. But as usual, guys, I've been Topsy. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll catch you for the next one. Bye.